Hello and welcome back to the Okanagan Reader. I'm your host, Jim Bowering. They're up and about now and feeling good. It looks like Fran's health problems might be solved, and there's plenty of work to do on the comet as it steadily works its way through the Oort Cloud. The friends sit on their balcony with tea and biscuits and think about how good it is to be there. Today's reading is Chapter 2 of Parasite Puppeteers, the second book in the Green Comet trilogy. If you're ready, I am. So, here we go then.
Chapter 2 Tea and Biscuits. When they got up, there was so much to do, so much to talk about. First on everyone's list was telling Frances that Buzzard had figured out the problem and that she should be all right this time. Naturally, the doctor had to qualify that. He agreed that she was probably cured and that she could probably count on having a completely normal waking this time. But he was compelled to add that they couldn't be sure until she actually managed it. What they didn't talk about was that everyone would harbor a grain of doubt and uncertainty for many years, and even many wakings, because there had been so many disappointments in the past. Fran didn't let that stop her enjoyment of being up and among her friends once again, and Elgin didn't let his anxiety cloud the moment either. If this didn't work out, and she was taken from them again, then they would deal with it as they had done before. Meanwhile, they both tacitly agreed that they would act as if she was back to normal. They would move back into their apartment, on the yellow wall next to the orange, and get back to living their lives. They were right to be optimistic. They had a full 20-year waking of good health, and were able to get a lot of good work done. They had plenty of work to do because they and their companion, Orange Comet, both decided to reduce their waking populations to conserve resources for the crossing. Since they calculated that it would take 7,000 years to enter the Oort Cloud of the neighboring star, they had to be practical. The reduced population of only 200 active wakers meant that there was plenty of work to go around. On Green Comet, with its population of 10,000, the new regime meant that each person would be awake for 20 years out of each 1,000 now, rather than out of each 100. Orange Comet's population was only 4,000, so they were up for 20 years out of each 400. Never the ones to miss an opportunity, they would be able to see whether the people of Orange Comet would age and die any sooner than the people of Green Comet. Both populations had the benefit of the nanotools working on their bodies in the hibernariums, but this would show whether Green Comet's extra time down or Orange's extra time up made any difference. Naturally, once Fran's telomere procedure proved out, the potential for indefinite longevity added another angle to the experiment. Once they got settled in and they'd had a nice visit, the six were sitting on the balcony overlooking the square, eating biscuits and drinking iceberry tea. Fran said, "I like that it's square now. It seems more natural." "I know what you mean," said Galatea. "It never seemed right before when it was shaped like a shoebox." They made comfortable noises of agreement while they enjoyed the grand proportions of it. No one spoke while they sipped and nibbled. Everyone appreciated how special the moment was, to be together again here after everything. The original 5, the hand that held off annihilation, plus one more, Galatea, who had finally got Stanton to see that her gruff ways were signs of love. But not everyone was there. "I just wish Buzzard and Maria could be here," murmured Fran. "Then it would be perfect." No one jumped in to explain. She knew what it had cost Buzzard to help her, and she didn't need to hear it again. He needed a good long hibernation to repair the damage he had done, with his obsessive pursuit of her cure, and Maria wasn't going to let him do it alone. Fran said, "They're probably together right now having a nice talk." She looked at the doctor. "You set them up, right?" "Yes," he said, "but it's too early to tell if it's working." "I suppose," said Fran, "but I don't see any reason why not." She looked at the doctor, whose bald head reflected the square's skylighting as he nodded his agreement. "It's the same setup as Elgin and I had, right?" "That's right," said the doctor. "It should work, and if I had to guess right now, I'd say it probably is." He shrugged, smiling at himself. But you know, he said, it's just probabilities. They laughed along with him. They knew his cautious, skeptical nature. We know, Doctor, said Nigel, his laughing eyes bright and clear. Certainties are hard to come by in your business. He blinked theatrically, focusing on the people and things around him, making his regained vision obvious. How many times did I hear you say that I would probably get my sight back, but that there were no guarantees? Well, it was true, insisted the doctor. The probability was high, but it did not equal 1. He couldn't help grinning back at everyone. They knew him well, but so did he. His fastidiousness in this area was easy to make fun of, but they all knew it would never change. It was part of his nature to treat his patients and their conditions with clear-eyed honesty, and they wouldn't want it any other way. Anyway, Doctor, said Fran, how long do you think it will be before Buzzard can get up? Well, he said, pausing for effect, that's hard to say. After the laughter and groans, he said, Buzzard's wakings were getting shorter and his sleeps were getting longer while he worked on your telomere problem. What he needs now is a good long spell in the hibernarium. He looked out over the square and thought for a moment, then nodded. He might as well stay there until next time we get up. 1,000 years? asked Fran, surprised. He probably doesn't need 1,000 years, said the doctor, but he needs more than 10 or 20. So, since I'm sure we all want to be there when he wakes up, they all agreed emphatically, he might as well stay down. Stanton spoke up. I'll miss the bugger, he said, contemplating a full waking without him, but it's for the best. Galatea patted his arm while he cleared a sudden huskiness out of his voice. Better to have him healthy, he said, and it's not as if we're going to notice the time passing once we're in hibernation. Not much time anyway, said Fran, thinking of the slow consciousness they could now expect down there. Say, Doctor, she said, would it be possible for more than 2 people to share? The doctor looked at her in open-mouthed shock. Oh, for goodness sake, he said. But he was thinking about it.